Hello and welcome to Death Knights of Krynn, and this will be part 22. In our last episode, we revealed that Ariela of Carmen was actually a dragon, and of course she had been responsible for kidnapping Siba's Asthmore. So now we are trying to track him down and track her movements down, which is why we're going to be going to Cerberus this time. But of course, not having a random encounter is almost um, unheard of. It's virtually all my videos at the moment in this game start with a random encounter. So, well, no second. It's just something that has to be done. Almost done. Yeah, managed to stun one of the skeletons. Onwards, outside the city of Cerberus, do you enter? Indeed. This is the main street leading into Cerberus. The common guard lies to the west, and to the east is a bustling farmer's market. Many citizens wear mourning garb. Mourning garb. Not morning garb, but mourning, as in sad. You've entered the main section of Cerberus. A cluster of angry people mill around the tavern to the east. Intriguing. A sign reads Clear Glass Tavern. Many townspeople are here talking in small groups. You ask the tavern keeper what's going on in Cerberus. You don't know? Some coward murdered the mayor in his sleep. The funeral's at the graveyard over the hill. Everyone's going. He returns to his whatever it was. So, the town hall looks dark. Enter. Town hall is empty and silent. The mayor's chair is draped in black. All meetings have been postponed until after the funeral. That probably indicates we should check out the funeral. A cleric welcomes you to his home. My name is Zachary, he says. What do you wish to know about? Mayor. No. Yes. Zachary nods. I'm sure you've heard about the assassination of the mayor. I suspect it was part of a large plot, possibly against all of Krynn. Would you like to hear about Darkout Keep now? Free the servants in the keep. You must lift their gaze by destroying their captors. We of Cerberus would be grateful for their rescue. Zachary sighs. There's no more I can tell you. Talk to the people in the tavern if you wish to know more. Zachary bids you farewell and good luck. Yeah. Let's go to the graveyard. You are at the graveyard. Do you enter? Sure thing. Twisting path leads through the graveyard in all directions. People from Cerberus fill the area preparing for their mayor's funeral. A man at the gate gives directions. Go north to the T intersection, then turn left. The funeral is in the mausoleum of that path. A dog sits over a grave to the northeast. The ward in this fence radiates evil. Lovely. That was the same ward. A large dog sits by its master's grave. It growls as you approach. Call it. The dog stops growling. When you move, it follows. Dogs do have some use. As you near the wall in this fence, your dog whines. So, it's indicating wards. The chapel is empty and cobwebs are forming in the corners. You find a discovered diary belonging to the graveyard's cleric. You read it. The diary contains mostly routine notes about the upkeep of the graveyard. Only the last entry is of interest. I fear Loring, the gravedigger, has been stealing from the bodies. He started wearing a huge ruby far beyond his means, and refuses to explain where he obtained it. Before I speak to Loring, I must check the wards around the fence. It may be my imagination, but I sense something is wrong with them. Interesting. Let's see what we can find out. The funeral is inside. Mourners fill the mausoleum. Will you enter? This funeral is for the mayor's Cerberus. During the service, you see the mayor's body twitch. What do you do? Tell people. Outraged mourners refuse to listen and continue the funeral despite your protest. What do you do? Attacking corpse is probably going to be a bit. So, nothing. A few minutes pass, then the funeral is interrupted by laughter from outside. The mayor's body animates and lunges into the crowd. Oh dear. We have to trigger the funeral in order to progress the graveyard, and in order to progress the rest of the story of Cerberus. You hear screams as corpses drag themselves from the ground and attack all living beings. Thunder from above sounds like deep, triumphant laughter. You hear faint cries from the distance, and black smoke rises from the direction of Cerberus. The town and the graveyard must have been attacked simultaneously, and we can obviously see that from inside the mausoleum. Details. Oversight in the writing. Use your X-ray vision to look through a stone wall to see. Maybe not. A patch of fresh earth looks as if something is buried here. An insane gravedigger stands here. His clothes are filthy, but he wears a bright ruby. He cackles, "I'll bury you deep, deep in the earth. Yes, yes. Let's grab that ruby, shall we?" You snatch the ruby and it shudders in your hand. The gravedigger sinks to the ground. He speaks. "I found the ruby on my bed," he cries. "I didn't steal it. I swear to you, I am no thief," he says, flashing anger. "I thought it was a gift from a mourner, for my services. I thought nothing of it at first." He lapses into silence for a moment. "Something happened to me. A few days after I found the ruby, my mind must have left me. I am afraid I was led to serve some great evil, to do terrible things." He looks up at you fearfully now. "I killed the cleric. He was such a kind man. I stole the runes he had placed around the graveyard to ward off evil and buried them outside. The next morning, new runes had replaced them, and the place stunk of evil. What have I done?" He buries his head in his hands and sobs. He gives you a shovel and says that the true runes are buried right outside. Um, um, you find a body. These are clearly the remains of the cleric that once governed the graveyard. You know what? I've got a paladin in my party, right? Can I bring this guy to justice? Will you dig up whatever is buried here? Sure thing. You unearth 4 metal runes. A strong aura of goodness emanates from them. You take the runes. You believe that replacing these runes around the graveyard fence would repel the undead within. I mean, he was compelled, mind controlled, and whatnot, but he should still be held accountable in some way. He should be forced to have some sort of penance. I'm sure the Gallagher, the paladin, would um, insist on that. As you near the fort on this fence, the dog winces. You have placed the evil rune. The chapel is empty and cobwebs are forming in the corners. Just double checking. As you near the wall on this fence, your dog whines and cries. Replace the evil. Yep. That is what we're going to do. There are 4 runes we need to replace, so we'll have to do this 4 times. It's just locating them. Some raids have captured a young man and are holding him here. They attack. It's going to be a long fight. The captive passes out before he can thank you. You hide him as well as you can. So we got some experience. Hooray! It'd be nice. Running about in the graveyard. That is obviously alive. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but I suppose, I mean, we are heroic. A heroic party. So, can't be heroic if there's nothing to be scared by. A huge shadow falls over you as undead rocks attack. Now, if they were sitting down, would that be rocking chair? Huh. Huh. Ignore me. A band of marauding vampires attack. Way, vampires. Lovely. You like vampires. Dead ones. Turn works. 0 XP, but whatever. I would rather have no XP than getting my levels strained. So, your earth shifts at one of the graves, and you hear muffled sound. Well, take up the grave and unearth a woman and help her recover. Soon she's strong enough to leave, move on, whatever. I have pre-recorded this a long time ago, and I was hoping during the recording I gave myself time enough to voice it afterwards, but apparently I haven't. So it's a bit hit and miss. I'm sorry about that, but I'm doing the best I can. A band of marauding vampires attack. Hey, more vampires. These ones we can't turn. Gaze attack, by the way, is a charm. Sadly, the cleric got hit, so she's lost 2 levels now by a single hit of a vampire. This is why certain undeads are absolutely horrible. You can see she's level 12 now, she's normally level 14. But thankfully I have some scrolls with restoration. Of course, it only restores 1 level at a time, so I have to use both of them, which is rather painful. But it's just as much to get them used, by the way. I mean, I will end up with this game with so many scrolls that are unused because I just forget to use them. Most of them are spells that are completely and utterly irrelevant to cast in the fights. And there's not an awful lot of areas that encourages you to use other spells. You probably use knock, cure light wounds in to interact with the game world. Those are the spells you sort of use, which is a bit sad. As you near the ward on this fence, the dog whines. Replace the evil one with a good one. Destroy the evil ward and replace it with the good one. There is a great sigh throughout the graveyard as the undead attackers are reduced to dust. Evil has again been banished. As I said, I'm doing the best I can with the voiceover. Sorry about that. Anyway, we should probably head back to Cerberus and see what we can do there, because of course the town seemingly got attacked at the same time as the graveyard, which is always lovely. The dog runs back to its master's grave. Good doggy. This is the main street leading into Cerberus. The smell of burning wood fills the air. You hear screams and fighting from the north. Undead creatures charge forward. I'm not going to gamble on whether my employee is able to turn or not. So let's make sure to fireball them to smithereens instead. You see, I spent so much time making sure well, okay, it wasn't that time. There's another delay blast fireball cast where I spent an awful lot of time placing it correctly and then misplaced it anyway. Undead marauders fill Cerberus, destroying the houses and stores. The citizens have barricaded themselves in town hall, but the undead are closing in. As you try to enter town hall, giant zombies close in from either side. Yay, giant zombies! Whatever will I do? My ranger does not like giants. Well, actually, he likes giants because it will do an obscene amount of damage to them. I could technically turn them, which is faster, but I may as well get the experience for defeating them. And of course, if they're just running away, which is effectively what turning will do unless they're destroyed, you get 0 experience for defeating them. Which I think is a bit, let's look a bit of them. Now that the zombies are defeated, it's safe to enter. Enter town hall. A group of people are huddled here. Hammering fills the air as the windows are boarded up. A man steps forward to address your team. Never before has this town had such ill fortune. First, the assassination of our good mayor. Now this. Legions of undead have invaded the town. They desire only our lives and the destruction of our homes. Dark shapes peer through the windows before boards are quickly nailed into place, blocking their view. It was the fortune teller, says a teenage girl. I saw him giving orders to the creatures as I was running from the market. Her father interrupts. The important thing is to save our cleric, Zachary. Only he can open the door to the armory. With our weapons, we can destroy these accursed invaders. Remember, Zachary's home is in the northwest corner of town. Please save him. So we know what you're supposed to be doing. If our minions lash forward, someone bring me a bucket of water, please. I just can't get that spell right. Cone of Cold. Whatever. We beat them very easily. So, let us move on. Where we head west and north should bring us to where we need to go. The small house has been abandoned. Great. We find signs of a struggle. It appears that Zachary has been seized by the invaders. Okay. Spectres howl out a battle cry. Well, something that I know, which I haven't showed, unfortunately, I forgot about that. The fortune teller has a boost in the market, so that's why we are going now. Could go and get our fortune sold, but it's not relevant for the story. The farmer's bazaar has been demolished by the undead forces. Booths are toppled and burning, their wares either plundered or destroyed. Fortune teller's tent is closed, and you hear grappling voices debating within. Enter. The fortune teller is here, holding a dagger against Zachary's throat. He snarls with rage when you enter and turns against you instead. Which wasn't a smart move, I suppose. But whatever, I'm guessing he's taking his chance, and I suppose he's allowed to. I would assume that's him. It's another case of having an NPC in the story that is not named as an opponent in the tactical display. Which seems a bit odd, but the one unique looking mage is probably who he is. Oh, well, he's not combat able anymore. Singing Clown is a nice little spell to work with a group of casters when you are unable to cast fireballs without blowing your own party to smithereens as well. But unfortunately, it does block. You get a saving throw in the Singing Cloud, and if you fail your saving throw, you're helpless because you're basically coughing your face off. If you do pass your saving throw, there's still a chance that any spell casting will be interrupted because Sam doesn't really cast any spells. So it's normally useful to use, assuming you have ranged characters that can reach. If you place your characters on auto, they will happily run through the stinging clouds in order to, as you can see. So, found treasure. Hooray! Probably nothing of value. You can do detect magic, and all of them are magic, so they will all light up, which is not useful. Zachary is grateful, but weak from his ordeal. He remembers an incantation to open the armory and the townspeople. For the townspeople, then it tells you to go and get your reward. Yeah, sorry, I didn't catch up here. Now that the zombies are defeated, it's safe to enter. Yeah, you bring Zachary to the safety of town hall. He tells the crowd that they may enter the armory freely. Townspeople rush off to retrieve their weapons and slay the undead. You deserve a reward, Zachary says. Go northeast to the armory and take whatever you think is fair. Which is anything that's available, of course, I mean. A sign proclaiming Golden Way in. Nope. Heading into the armory. Magical barricade has been lowered. You may now enter the armory to collect your reward. Most of the weapons has been removed from the armory, but a few good ones are left. A few good weapons. Let us see. 1,000 steel, who cares? There's one weapon. It is a good one, but a few good weapons. That's some odd weapons. That is a very, very powerful mace, by the way. It is not a Holy Avenger, but it's probably as close to being a Holy Avenger as it can be without being a Holy Avenger. Everyone can use it, not just paladins. It is a maze of disruption. And normal undeads will have to save or be disrupted. Basically disintegrated, and stronger undeads which cannot be disintegrated by the maze still will still take massive damage from being hit by it. But we're done here, so on that note, I'm going to say thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.